So hey guys, in this video I will be talking mainly about different signal processing techniques like Fourier transform. So let's start with the very basic thing. What is a signal? So a signal is a description of how one parameter varies with another parameter, say voltage varying with time. So here we generally deal with two types of signals: continuous signals and discrete signals. The difference between these is continuous signals use parentheses, which is this curve braces, while discrete signals use brackets. So here is a continuous system and discrete system. What is a system? It's something which gives you an output signal for some input signal. So you can see how a continuous signal looks like, which is continuous in nature, and what a discrete signal looks like. Next, what is frequency? So basic definition of frequency, as we all know, it's the number of occurrences of any event or unit time. So if we look at this different waves and we took a particular interval of time, we can see this pink wave is repeating more frequently than this blue wave, and blue wave is repeating more frequently than all the other waves. So we can see this pink wave has got the highest frequency and red wave has got least frequency. How does this statement can be true in case of frequency of human voice? Because when we speak, we do not repeat anything. Then how come our voice has different frequencies? So let's look at it. Okay, so Fourier transform. What is Fourier transform? It's a signal processing technique to do frequency analysis of any time domain signal. So basic definition of Fourier transform is it's a complex value function of frequency whose magnitude, which is the absolute value, represents amount of that frequency present in original function and whose argument is phase offset of the basic sinusoid in that frequency. So in simple words, Fourier transform is a tool that breaks any waveform or any time domain signal into an alternate representation which can be written in terms of sines and cosines. So any signal, if we apply Fourier transform to it, we can write it in forms of sines and cosines. So here is an four examples. So first signal, as we can see, is continuous and aperiodic. Second signal is continuous and periodic. Third signal is discrete and aperiodic, and fourth signal is discrete and periodic. So when we apply Fourier transform to these four types of signals, it's just we call them by different names. Like if the signal is continuous and aperiodic, which is this type. Okay, let me take a marker. Yeah. So we term that transform as a simple Fourier transform. When the signal is continuous and periodic, we term that as Fourier series. When the signal is discrete and aperiodic, we term this as discrete time Fourier transform, which is DTFT. And when the signal is discrete and periodic, we call it as discrete Fourier transform or DFT. Simple. Okay, this is the mathematical representation of how to calculate each transform. Not important to remember. It's just for you to know. Anyways, we do this calculation in the computer, so no need to worry about this. Okay, so this diagram shows the relation between a time domain signal and frequency domain signal. So this diagram shows what will be the nature of frequency when we apply Fourier transform. So for example, if the signal is continuous and finite in nature, so when we apply Fourier series, the frequency domain of that signal will be discrete and infinite in nature, which is exactly opposite of the original signal, which was finite and continuous. So you can see the finite and continuous. So we apply Fourier transform, which is called as Fourier series. So the frequency signal will be infinite and discrete. So similarly, if the signal is continuous and infinite, we can see its Fourier transform will be infinite and continuous. That's it. So in this way we can get an idea about how the signal will how the frequency domain of a particular signal will look when we apply any Fourier transform on that signal. So here is an example. As we can see, this is a time signal. So by looking at this signal, we can directly say that this is a continuous and periodic signal. It's repeating after certain interval time. By looking at the signal, we can't make out which all frequencies are present in the signal, right? Because there are many spikes here. Many frequencies can be present. So when we do its Fourier transform, we get this kind of graph. So here there are different set of frequencies from 0 to 660 hertz. Okay, so all these frequencies are present in some proportion in this original signal. So how do we look how do we analyze this graph? So the maximum amplitude of frequency here is around 190 hertz. We can see this magnitude is higher than any of the peaks. So we can say 190 hertz is majorly present in this signal. Next highest is around 330. So 330 hertz is present in this signal. So many frequencies are present in this signal. So by looking at the Fourier transform of a signal, we can guaranteedly say that what type of frequencies are present in original signal, or original signal is made up of which all frequencies. Here is another simple example. Remember I told you the Fourier transform of any signal is a complex valued function. So it will definitely have a real and imaginary part. What does Fourier transform do? It breaks down signals into sine and cosine. Okay, so here is a time domain signal. When we do its Fourier transform and plot, the real part of that Fourier transform, which is a complex function, will look something like this. An imaginary part will look like this. What does it say? The real part of this Fourier transform shows that which frequency will be present in cosine function of original signal, and imaginary part will which tells us which frequency is majorly present in sine part of original signal. So we can see in both the graphs around 90 hertz is present. Amplitude of 90 hertz is maximum. So this frequency will majorly be present in this original signal because its amplitude is higher, both in cosine and sine. That's what we infer from looking at this graph. Okay, let's move on to next topic, which is DFT. What is DFT and why do we use it? So DFT stands for discrete Fourier transform. It's a very powerful tool when we look in the domain of digital signal processing, which helps us to find the spectrum of any finite duration signal. So one thing to notice, our computers can't process analog and continuous signals. So due to this, we need to convert those analog and continuous signals into discrete and finite signals, because our computer can only interpret a finite duration signal, that too discrete in nature. So, and since the signal is discrete in nature, for the computer to interpret, DFT is important. So here is an example. As you can see, this is a time varying signal which is continuous and periodic in nature. So if we were to do Fourier analysis on a computer, not by mathematical way, so our computer first of all can't interpret this because it's continuous. So we need to convert this into a discrete signal, right? So how do we do this? So let's take a number of samples, let's say 8, from 0 to 7 of this of a small part of this signal. So here we took 8 samples ranging from 0 to 7, like this, in the red lines. So first of all, we got a basic sample of the original signal. And one thing to remember is, if we want to do Fourier transform and our computer can only give the output as a finite one, we need to have a set a periodic function first as an input. So here after first of all we converted continuous signal into discrete one, and then we can make this into a periodic signal which is repeating in nature. Like you can see, this signal has got 3 time periods, and it's the same signal repeating after particular interval from 0 to 7. So for interpreting a finite duration signal, we need a periodic signal first to take its Fourier transform. So uh, here it's shown how we can make a periodic signal from a given sample signal. So here is the same sample signal, 8 samples from ranging from 0 to 7. We keep repeating this sample over a period of time, so that signal is periodic in nature, and then we apply Fourier transform to get its frequency spectra, which will be finite in nature, because we get finite duration signal only by periodic signal, right? So this is how we convert this same signal into periodic signal. Also, if we solve by mathematically, we will get this equation, which will be sine 2 pi by 8 plus 0.25 sine 4 pi by 10 plus pi. So this original signal has got can be decomposed into some of these sinusoids: sine of 2 pi by 8 and 0.25 sine 4 pi by 8 plus pi. Okay, let's look at another concept called STFT, or short time Fourier series. So to demonstrate this, I would like to give you an example. Like when we know that when we press any digit on a telephone, we get a sound, and each sound is different for every digit and these symbols. So this concept is called something like dual tone dual tone multi-frequency. So when we press 1, it is made up of 2 frequencies. Every digit is made up of 2 frequencies, so that when we decode this signal, we can easily analyze which digit was pressed. So here is a graph where 3 digits are being pressed. So this is a time domain graph here, and represents number of samples taken, like from 0 to some 512 samples, or 1400 samples, something like that. So here we can see 3 digits are pressed, but looking at the time domain signal, we really can't make out which digit was pressed, but we can make out when it was pressed, because here there is a line, and after that there is some disturbance, and then again there is a line. So we can guaranteely see that uh, some digit was pressed at starting at this point, and it ended at this point. So we can infer when that digit was pressed by looking at time domain signal. But when we take the Fourier transform of this whole signal, we get this graph. So from this frequency spikes, the first spike, okay, the first spike here and the first spike here corresponds to different frequencies. Corresponds to one frequency. Sorry, this corresponds to one frequency. Second line and this middle line corresponds to one frequency. Third line and third line corresponds to one frequency. So by finding out the amplitude of this frequency, we can make out which digits were pressed, but we can't make out when it was pressed. So the problem here is, when we look at a time domain signal, we can make out when it was pressed, and when we look at Fourier series frequency domain by taking Fourier transform, we can make out which digit was pressed. So that's a conflict, right? So how do we get to know both things, which digit was pressed and when it was pressed? So here's the thing where short time Fourier transform helps us. So what do we do in short time Fourier transform? We do not take Fourier transform of this whole signal. Instead, we select the interval, and we take its Fourier transform, a short interval. So here, as you can see, x of mk, this represents the amplitude. Okay, m is the starting point and k is a set of samples ranging from 0 to L. So like if we were to take L samples, the k will range from 0 to L minus 1, m to L minus 1, sorry, m to L minus 1, right? So initially, if we take this short interval of time, as no digit was being pressed, we can see here we get a flat line which is a 0 in amplitude because there was no digit was pressed, therefore no frequency was present at that time. One thing to note here, we are sampling for L equal to 256, and here it is shown from 0 to 128, which is exactly half of that. Why so? Because other half will be imaginary, and since our signal is real, we only need the real part of the Fourier transform. Here L is equal to 256. Just remember that. Next, if we take a short Fourier transform of if we move further and we take short Fourier transform of this section, we get this graph. Here m is equal to 2000. M varies from 0 to 16800, which is the total number of samples in the whole interval. If we start from m equal to 8000, which will be part of this second digit, we get this frequency. And when we take m is equal to 11900, which is from this region, we get this graph. So here we can easily make out which digit was being pressed and when, because since we are varying our sample number from where it is starting, we can make out when that digit was pressed, and from the amplitude we are getting, we can figure out which digit was being pressed. So we can figure out both the parameters using STFT. So that's where it helps us to analyze frequency domain more easily. So a spectrogram. So what is a spectrogram? It's a visual representation of frequencies. So generally the color code is where the magnitude of that particular frequency is high. The spectrogram will have lighter lines, and where the magnitude is small, it will have dark lines. Also, we use log scale to compress magnitude, since the magnitude of frequency can go very high. So in order to shorten this scale, we take log to the base 10 of that magnitude, so it decreases the overall value. So if we plot the spectrogram, we get this graph. So from this graph, we can easily infer the dark region. Dark region means small magnitude. So if we look at original signal, here no digit was being pressed. So we can easily make out no digit was being pressed in this time, in this before and this time. And when we look at lighter lines, we can figure out which frequencies were present. So when we look at this table, we can figure out which digit was being pressed from the spectrogram. One thing to note here, this graph is for L is equal to 256 and this graph is for L is equal to 32. L means number of samples in that short duration. We can easily notice that the frequency component in this graph, where we have taken less samples, is a little spread out. Like we can't make out which frequencies were present in this period of time. So that's the problem here, because we have taken less number of sample points. So remember that if you want a clear idea of which frequencies were present, we need to take a decent number of samples for DFT. Let's look at the last topic of this section, which is 2D transform. Here's not much to explain. It's just a example of a normal image, and it's a 2D Fourier transform. We can calculate a Fourier transform in two dimensional also. Same thing here, magnitude of the transform is where the magnitude is small, the color will be very dark, and where the magnitude is high, the color will be light. That's it.